And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, if there's one thing people should take away from things that you can learn on this show, it's this. Don't go cheap on seafood.
A lot of things go well with shrimp. Radioactive isotopes, not so much. The FDA warning people not to buy or eat certain great value raw frozen shrimp sold at Walmart because it may be contaminated with cesium-137. That is a byproduct of testing for nuclear reactors and weapons, and unfortunately, it ends up in the ocean.
Don't buy shrimp at Walmart.
They're putting nuclear waste in the shrimp?
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Although, if I think about this for a second, if you're buying shrimp at Walmart, I don't think you really care about your health outcomes.
You know what's funny, though? I will defend buyers who pay attention to the dollar in this regard. It doesn't matter how rich the person is. Whenever I ask someone, where do you get your seafood? Where do you get your meat? The answer is almost always Costco. Everyone I know who's a cook, who likes to cook at home and entertain, whenever I ask that question, the answer is always the same.
But Costco and Walmart are two completely different beasts. Costco specifically makes sure that they source premium options. You get sushi-grade fish there. You just have to buy it in massive quantities. I don't even want to know where they're getting the shrimp at Walmart. Don't do it. Take this from someone that has given himself food poisoning for buying manager special shark once at Ralph's. Don't do it.
What made you think rolling the dice on that was a good idea?
I was 21 and I was stupid.
How long were you ill?
I gave myself such bad food poisoning that my house smelled like fish for 3 weeks. I went to work and immediately had to go home sick, and everyone told me that I smelled like a fish.
I've only been sent home from work once, and that was when I banged my head. I think this was before you started working at the radio station. It's National Radio Day, by the way, so happy National Radio Day. But one morning, I was getting dressed in the dark, and I banged my head when I was doing it. I was working on Doug McIntyre's morning program at the time, and I gave myself a concussion but didn't know it. And I went on the air to do the sports report that day, and I was slurring my words, and I didn't look right. And Doug called me into the room, and he basically gave me one of those sobriety checks. And I was stone cold sober, but I was dealing with the effects of a concussion. And he said, you got to go see a neurologist. So there's that. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, the big issue in Sacramento right now is whether or not Californians are going to adopt a new congressional map. The independent commission drew lines that we've been living with for years now, but Gavin and company want to gerrymander or Gavinmander up the state so that the Democrats win 5 more seats in Congress. The California state legislature has been debating this, and some of the Republicans on the committee had a question for the Democratic majority, which was, the legislature is supposed to draw the lines, but we're on the committee that in theory would draw them. We didn't draw them. Who did? And they really never got an answer on the record from the Democratic members of the legislature.
Not only that, there was a very contentious fight when an amendment was attempting to be introduced that would say anyone that votes for these maps cannot run for these seats. And let's just say there are certain leaders of both houses that don't like that.
Oh, no, because they're looking to extend their careers.
Let's hear what Ashley Zavala has to say when it comes to who exactly drew these maps, because she's not getting a very clear answer. Here is KCRA3 and the incredible Capitol correspondent, Ashley Zavala.
Lawmakers today began their 3-day cram session to hear, vote, and approve new congressional maps that could be presented to voters in a special election this fall.
All right, so this effort is to send more Democrats to Washington, D.C., and it's all in response to what's happening in Texas, where President Trump has asked lawmakers there to do the same.
You know, if we're going to continue this Cold War arms race with Texas, maybe it's time we get a Whataburger. They've got In-N-Out.
Well, did you see the language, though? They said, well, if Texas does it, or Florida, or Missouri, or ...
If any of them do it, we're moving in.
But for Republicans.
California.
If any of you redistrict, say goodbye to Kevin Kiley.
He's the hostage.
But for Republicans.
California lawmakers keep promising this will be the most transparent process in the nation. That's what they keep saying. But today, they struggled to answer a basic question in all of this.
Very basic question. KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joins us now with what she repeatedly asked today.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't clear. That basic question is who exactly is responsible for these maps. In that special election, who can California voters look to specifically when they want to know who put these new congressional districts together? It really was not clear in any of the hearings today. Both the state Senate and Assembly elections committees had a lengthy discussion on the redistricting push overall. A reminder that this is happening as California already has an independent redistricting commission that is responsible for doing this work after the census.
Yeah, but they said, go ahead and do it, guys.
What was funny is the ones on that commission, including a political science professor from Pomona, who was supposed to be one of the independents on the commission, she spoke at Gavin's rally and sounded more partisan than Gavin.
She was the opening act.
California voters took the power away from politicians nearly 2 decades ago because they didn't like that lawmakers were drawing districts for themselves. So with that, I asked both the Democratic leaders of each elections committee, who is responsible for drawing these new proposed congressional districts?
Governor Gavin Newsom promised that no special interests or this would be transparent. This would not be done in a back room. So we're trying to ascertain in this very short amount of time that you have to deliberate this, who exactly are the maps responsible
for? There's happening very quickly, and the folks that were drawing the maps went back to the Independent Redistricting Commission's testimony and what they heard during their time when they were deliberating this, and they themselves ran out of time to do the work that they needed to do. And so we're basing these on the Voting Rights Act, and we're looking at really bringing...
Boy, she's saying a whole lot of nothing.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were really rushed, so we just did what we had to do.
The voters into this process, and that's why we're going to an election on November 4th, because at the end of the day, the voters' voice is what...
Oh, she's one of those.
There's a lot of them out there.
End of the day, the voters' voice is what matters.
And we're asking because voters back in 2008 and 2010 took the power away from politicians to draw maps because they did not like that it was an incumbent protection plan. So we just need to know. I mean, that's why we're asking.
These are definitely unusual times. We are no longer governing in a democracy. We're governing.
Oh, we're not?
Yeah, that's why she's preparing for a statewide ballot initiative, because we're no longer in a democracy.
Governing in an authoritarian government. We are seeing things that we care so deeply about in California. We have education, food for children, our immigrant community, our LGBT community. They are getting...
Didn't you miss a whole bunch of words in that?
She sounds like she's short-circuiting.
Well, have you ever listened to any member of the California legislature for an extended period of time?
That's a very good question.
They are getting decimated by this administration. This is an all-out assault on California's democracy and the rights and values. So we have to move quickly, but we are bringing the voters on to this process. We're letting them know the maps have been posted on the website.
We've got to do this so we can have control of the House in 2026 so we can refund needle exchange programs in L.A. County.
Didn't she also have another crash and burn video at some point in the past where they were asking her basic questions and she couldn't figure it out?
There's a lot of them like that.
Oh, you know what it was? She was the one in charge when they had the NDAs. When they would meet secretly and then force everyone to sign NDAs, she was the chairman of that committee. And when she was asked about it, she just refused to answer and kept smiling, and they chased her down the hallway. And I think she was obnoxious when she was trying to run away from the reporters. But she was the one who did that.
The maps have been posted on the website. We have this election on November 4th, and at the end of the day, the voters will decide.
She did it again.
The people who do that are very fond of it.
At the end of the day,
the voters will decide what is important to them and whether they want to adjust these maps to give California the voice it needs in Congress.
Madam Chair, can you say whether or not were state lawmakers involved in drawing the maps? Any state lawmakers at all?
Not to my knowledge.
But
who drew the maps?
The state legislature, of course. Did you draw it since you're chair of that committee? Of course not.
Not to my knowledge.
But who adjusted them last night at 8 p.m.?
It was my understanding that they were by 8 a.m. They were out there.
No, Monday there's an adjustment.
There was a collaboration, but we can get to the people that actually did that work.
So then why does the legislation say the detailed maps are prepared by the Assembly and State Senate elections committees?
So the reality is that it was a collaboration.
Oh, she's one of those, too. The reality is?
The people who love the cliches love them.
The reality is that it was a collaboration, and we can get those specifics, but I think what's most important is the maps are out there for people to see, to evaluate, to make a judgment on. The lines are the lines.
Madam Chair, but
so
when you consume something, don't you want to know who makes it? When you are presented with something, don't you want to know where it's coming from? Don't voters deserve to know?
When I go to a restaurant, I don't need to meet the chef.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you, when it's a state that's run by one party rule and you're the party that's in power, you don't like to be questioned. And whenever you are, you snap.
So did this committee meet then to draw the lines? I mean, we're just trying to ascertain who...
Oh, now she's talking to Sabrina Cervantes.
She was the one that was accused of DUI by the cops recently and claimed that she wasn't under the influence, but she fled the scene of the accident before the cops could get there, and the cops met up with her, what was it, almost a day later?
Cleared of all wrongdoing.
Oh, yeah.
So did this committee meet then to draw the lines? I mean, we're just trying to ascertain who exactly is responsible for drawing these maps at this point.
So the criteria has remained the same from the CRC. 76% of the districts remain the same, and that is what Californians will see. There are many folks, stakeholders, who have had an input on the map drawing process, but ultimately this is up.
Can you imagine listening to her for more than 5 minutes at a time?
No, I can't. Her sister, by the way, ran for the assembly and lost. I think the sister has 2 or 3 DUIs.
On the map drawing process, but ultimately this is up to the decision of California voters, whereas the CRC, which we respect, we want to make sure that there's a nationwide Citizens Redistricting Commission.
And the way to do that is to take away our own.
You see, to make something healthy, you have to destroy it.
This is chemo for the government.
This is like Curly from Of Mice and Men.
But the reality is
Oh, she does it too.
But the reality is we are in an...
Is it just me, or is she getting more robotic the longer she speaks?
Oh, she is.
But the reality is we are in...
You think about all of these people in Congress who you see on TV, and you realize they're not impressive. How did this person become a member of Congress? And then you have to say to yourself, there's an entire minor league system that exists out there where there are people whose skills aren't as good as that. And here they are.
But the reality is we are in an emergency, and this is our emergency response. We're giving Californians over 2.5 months to review these maps thoroughly and make a decision on whether or not we move forward with this constitutional amendment.
But is the State Senate Elections Committee, we drew these maps? Like, you're ready to say that too?
The Senate Rules Committee put these maps. The census...
Who drew the maps?
They won't answer the question.
The census tracks onto the website.
So legislators drew the maps? Can we say that to our viewers?
Again, this was from CRC's criteria.
I'm not totally certain at this point that Ashley Zavala is talking to Sabrina Cervantes or a chat bot.
So let me just go ahead and explain what's going on here. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and a Democratic consultant by the name of Paul Mitchell, those were the two entities that drew the maps. But they don't want videotape evidence existing of them acknowledging that, because that will be used in the ads against them. So they were all told to say that the Assembly and the Senate drew the maps, even though they didn't. So these people don't want to go on TV and outright lie, so they just won't answer the question.
Again, this was from CRC's criteria. Millions.
Right. We need to know, create the maps. Was it Paul Mitchell and Paul Mitchell's strategy?
It was input, again, from testimony.
It was who drew the map.
It was testimony that was given to the CRC.
By whom?
We're remaining consistent, making sure we're keeping communities of interest together.
Don't they deserve to know who drew these maps?
Again, this is the most...
We're keeping communities together, except we split Lodi into 3 different districts.
Oh, I think they did the same thing with Lake Forest.
Keeping communities of interest together.
Don't they deserve to know who drew these maps?
Again, this is the most transparent process in the nation.
So then who...
You know what's transparent? When people say it's transparent.
If it's transparent, and when you ask a question as to how it was put together and you don't answer the question, what do? You just say it's transparent again.
It's like anybody that tells you they're funny, they're not funny. People that are funny don't tell you they're funny. You know they're funny.
Again, this is the most transparent process in the nation.
So then who drew the maps?
This is the most transparent process.
You're not interested in answering. Can we ask a few other questions? Sure.
It's the most transparent process.
You're right. That woman sounds like Vicky the Robot from Small Wonder.
So the two women you just saw there, again, they are the leaders of the legislature's elections committees. Neither would really tell us who is responsible for these maps. The Speaker's office also keeps reiterating that this is a collaboration, but again, not giving specifics. As you heard in part of those exchanges, the maps were tweaked slightly between Friday and Monday, but no one still at this hour will tell us who exactly made those changes.
Or why they made them.
Was it the prune farmer to make sure that he can run for that seat?
Yes, that's what happened. They made sure that the prune farmer had a seat to run for. And they made sure that Rivas' seat, which is currently held by Zoe Lofgren, is a Democrat plus 30 seat. So both of them have congressional seats that they can occupy for decades.
There has been some hogwash.
Okay, Johnny, before we go, is this Sabrina or Vicky?
My name is Vicky. Pleased to meet you.
Oh, I guess that gave it away.
Kind of. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've crossed the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
You know, there's like TV shows and stuff, and there's like music, but sure, keep listening to this show because I've heard other radio shows and they're awful. Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcast, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. You can do a Google on the YouTube, get the KABC app, get the KSFO app. Listen to these things whenever you want, whether it's in the morning or...
At the end of the day...
Last night I was watching YouTube and I got stuck down the rabbit hole. And I ended up watching a 35-minute video of Kathy Griffin explaining all of the nasty things that she did to Brooke Shields, despite the fact that Brooke Shields gave Kathy Griffin a career.
That does seem like something you would watch in the middle of the night.
Oh, I got sucked in and I couldn't stop watching. The one good part is I finally moved off of the videos of the chiropractor giving people ring dingers.
That was your obsession for quite a few years.
2 or 3. Maybe I'll gravitate back to that. Who knows? 800-222-5222 is telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, yesterday we played sound for you of the former district attorney of Alameda County, Pamela Price. who said that Oakland is a safe place. It's the right-wingers in the news media that want you to believe that it's not safe, and that In-N-Out Burger is a racist company because they shut down their Oakland location and they have no black franchise owners.
Even though they don't franchise.
Yes, the Snyder family owns all of them. But today we have an update for you on just exactly how safe things are in Oakland.
Oakland just got voted the second most dangerous city in America.
I wonder who came in first.
We'll have to look it up. First, let's go to this report from ABC 7, Eyewitness News in the Bay Area.
Frustration growing with police union leaders in Oakland over staffing problems they say keep getting worse.
Oh, yeah, there's that, too.
Well, who wants to work there?
You would think that now that we've got new management in town,
quite frankly,
that the people who work at OPD would be encouraged to stay there. But no, I guess when Barbara Lee won that election instead of Lauren Taylor, there has been a lot of police officers who have been transferring to safer administrations.
I don't blame them.
They're going to Emeryville. They're going to Alameda. They're going to Hercules, and they're leaving Oakland.
Crime is still there and still a concern, a major concern of all cities and especially in Oakland.
Tim Della Vega is the treasurer of the Oakland Police Officers Association.
Notice how he's not saying crime is down.
No, he's not.
He believes crime in the city is largely driven by a lack of policing resources. The union counts 649 sworn officers, with more than 100 on leave or modified assignment.
So they're really down to 550.
Yeah, you're on your own in Oakland.
We're losing 5 to 6 officers a month. And when we talk to the officers that are exiting, they're exiting. It's not that they're leaving police work altogether. 60% of them are leaving to go to other agencies.
During her campaign, Mayor Lee promised...
They're probably getting a signing bonus, too.
Why not? They've already been through the training, so you can save money on that. You know they've seen everything that man has to offer. Why not hire them?
Go to Sonoma County. Go to Santa Rosa. Go anywhere but Oakland.
During her campaign, Mayor Lee promised to increase OPD staffing. In a statement sent to ABC 7 News, her office saying, the city's approach combines funding 5 police academies over the next 2 years to reach 678 officers on our way to the 700 sworn officer goal.
Yeah, but how's that going to work if we're losing 6 or 7 a month?
Yeah, just through attrition, you're going to continue to decline.
And let's just say that we might not have the budget for all those academies. And you might have what's been happening in Los Angeles, where the hiring process is so onerous. Once you go through the academy, you say, hey, Burbank, are you hiring? And then they go there.
Well, and you look at the neighboring mayors where you have, let's just say, Matt Mahan in San Jose, who has made it a key part of his platform to throw resources at public safety. If you continue to get worse and deteriorate in Oakland, the political situation, while nearby communities are getting better and they are vowing commitments to public safety, then you're going to just see more of this accelerating.
We're also strengthening the Department of Violence Prevention and our ceasefire program.
Oh, more life coaches. That'll do it.
Great. Let's double down on all of Shang Tao's failures.
And they really don't want to call Barbara Lee Shang Tao 2.0?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Barbara Lee says what we need to do is double down on hiring violence interrupters to go talk to the gang members that want to shoot each other and convince them that there's a better way.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Wouldn't it be simpler to send law enforcement to the gang members that obviously have illegal guns and put them in prison?
But then you end up with people in prison.
Oh, we can't have that.
No.
The mayor's office also highlighting that crime has been steadily falling in recent months.
Are there any Oaklanders that are buying that?
They were just voted the second most violent city in America.
Despite U.S. News and World Report ranking Oakland as the second most dangerous place in America.
Okay, well, now we have to look this up. U.S. News, World Report. Who's number one? Who do you think is number one?
It's got to be someplace in the South.
All right. The most dangerous places in the U.S. 2025-2026. We're going to go through the top 10.
Boy, I feel like David Letterman.
Number 10 is Pueblo, Colorado. Number 9 is Monroe, Louisiana. Number 8 is Nolens, Louisiana. Number 7 is Cleveland. 6 is Alexandria. A lot of these are Louisiana.
Wait, Alexandria. Are you sure we're not talking about Egypt?
Number 5 is Detroit. Number 4 is Baltimore, also known as Bodymore Murderland. Number 3 is St. Louis. Number 2 is Oakland. And number 1, I'm actually not surprised at this at all, Memphis.
I still can't believe Jerry West left the Lakers for them.
Memphis. In fact, it's interesting, right? Oakland's the only California city on the top 10.
Yeah, but they count for about 5 or 6.
Trying to see how far I can scroll before I see another California city. Oh, Albuquerque's 19. That's shocking. In the top 25, the only California city is Oakland.
Okay, well, as someone who lives here, is there anything in the state that even comes close to Oakland?
But crime is down, John.
Oh, yes.
Despite U.S. News and World Report ranking Oakland as the second most dangerous place in America. That report uses the latest FBI crime data from 2024 as one of the components in its ranking. Others, like Kat Brooks of the Anti-Police Terror Project, disagree with many parts of the city's approach to public safety.
Every time they do a story about the police, they interview this woman, and it's part of the problem of the city of Oakland.
Okay, I have a theory on why L.A. didn't make the top 10.
Why's that?
The city of L.A. is so huge that you also have to throw in parts of the San Fernando Valley, which are areas where you have large ranch-style homes and horses, and it could almost be described as rural. The city is just so big and so vast that not every square inch of the city looks like downtown L.A. or looks like areas where they have high crime rates. So because the city is just so large, it's going to dilute the numbers.
The data actually says that more police do not actually make us more safe.
Oh, then what does?
More social workers, of course.
That actually more resources make us more safe.
Brooks says,
if we just started writing checks to everyone, then no one would have the need to commit crimes.
Yeah, that's what Shang did. How did that work out for her?
You know, that's what a mayor do.
Miss you every day, girl.
Brooks says as a part of Oakland's latest budget, OPD got a sizable increase while other departments face cuts. And she questions whether the money going to hire more officers will be as effective as some hope.
Well, it won't be, because the officers keep leaving because they don't feel safe doing their jobs, because the police commission, which is full of people like the Anti-Police Terror Project, have created policies where they're not allowed to do their jobs, like, for instance, not allowed to chase suspects if they flee.
Think about this for a second. Barbara Lee is the conservative in this conversation.
We've got hundreds of California Highway Patrol that are supplementing the Oakland Police Department. We've got the BART Police Department. We've got East Bay Parks and Rec. We've got the FBI.
Those East Bay Park Rangers, they'll really stop this.
Ranger Rick?
Department. We've got East Bay Parks and Rec. We've got the FBI. We've got other federal agencies. I just want to know how many cops it takes.
Well, we're not there yet.
Well, we could just try as a little experiment to see what happens if we take her up for a word for it and just disband the police department. See what happens. The problem is Oakland is not in a bubble, and the crime in Oakland affects everywhere in the Bay.
If they defunded the cops in Oakland, can you imagine what would happen to those neighboring communities? If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Sonny writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com with the subject line in all caps, I knew it was going to be Memphis. The only time I've ever experienced a shrieking, terrified Uber driver was Memphis. Visiting Memphis last year, staying in a very funky part of town, a couple of blocks to Beale Street, we heard an early morning flight 4 a.m. pickup. The driver started screaming, "Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up," as a gang was headed towards her car.
You know, I went out to Nashville last year, I think it was, when our agent Craig was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. And I told a friend who lives in Tennessee, should I spend an extra day there and go out and see Memphis? And they said, oh, no, 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 no. You do not want to do that. All right. Well, we know the business climate in California is not great. Right now, Gavin Newsom's social media team is at war with Bed Bath & Beyond because Bed Bath & Beyond says they're not going to open up any locations in California due to the business climate. But it's not just the big boys who are experiencing a poor business climate and, well, just tough circumstances in general. So are the mom and pops. And one mom and pop in Sacramento has made the news for that reason in a way that no small business wants to make the news.
It's a cafe in Sacramento on K Street. And they have 2 entrances and have had to close one of them for the worst reason imaginable. For more, here is KCRA 3 in Sacramento.
You like the Adani chai? Yes. That's my favorite.
Most days, you'll find Hussam Hussein welcoming customers.
Wait, what is his name?
Saddam Hussein?
Hussam Hussein. Okay. Just checking.
Most days, you'll find Hussam Hussein welcoming customers at Sana Cafe on K Street in Sacramento.
People love our spot. It's a big attraction in Sacramento.
Sure. You could say people love your spot, but calling your cafe a big attraction in Sacramento? Okay, why not?
You know who loves it?
Who's that?
Uday and Quise.
And the community has been great, and the response has been amazing.
But he says running a business in downtown also comes with serious challenges.
This the same downtown that Gavin's trying to force all the state workers to come back to?
Yes, he is.
Cleanliness, safety concerns.
Recently, a man defecated outside his front door in the middle of the day.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to upsell your customers on dessert if that happens.
A few people were locked inside until we took care of it.
You can't leave. We have to clean up the biohazard at the front door.
So sorry.
And it was unfortunate because there were kids inside as well.
He says it wasn't the first.
Well, they got an education they'll never forget.
Yes, they did.
He says it wasn't the first time, and it's driving his customers away.
Some people are discouraged to come here when they face these challenges or see it.
To keep his customers safe, Hussein has closed his main door to the street.
Because it's on K Street.
The entrance is on K Street, and because K Street is so full of homeless you-know-what, he has closed and locked that door, and you have to go in the alley to go into this cafe.
This is right next to Gavin Newsom's office.
Unfortunately, and a lot of the incidents originate on this side.
And hired private security.
At the policy level, there needs to be a fundamental.
Does the private security come with toilet paper?
Maybe some wet wipes, too.
Solution, because a lot of people need help and they need to get certain services.
Scott Ford with the downtown.
Can we stop with people need help? I don't care if you're insane or on drugs or what. You do that in front of a cafe, you gots to go.
And go to jail. You need to go to jail if you do something like that. Because you're not only making the city look like crap, so to speak, but you're also damaging this business. This guy could go under because of this.
Scott Ford with the Downtown Sacramento Partnership, which represents more than 400 businesses, including Sanaa Cafe, acknowledges the problem.
Well, there's no question that criminal behavior and destructive behavior is unacceptable. It undermines the vitality of our businesses.
Ford says they're working with the city and Sacramento police, but resources are limited.
We've got to find creative ways to work together and to prioritize the cleanliness, the safety.
There's only a very small portion of the population that would ever think of doing something like this. If you don't want to remove them, it's going to keep happening. I don't think you need to be too creative on this one.
You know what he should do, though, and I'm not saying this is going to solve the problem entirely, but I'm just spitballing here. He could take that X-Lax milkshake off the menu.
And to prioritize the cleanliness, the safety, and the responsiveness to what needs to be a high-quality experience.
The partnership provides cleaning crews and security, but only for limited hours. And for Hussein, time is running out.
Sounds like it. All right, we've got one more hour coming up on the John Phillips Show. Robbie Suave joins us next. Don't you go anywhere.